Go over college football real quick. It was not as good of a college football Saturday as it was last weekend. A lot of the games kind of, I think some teams that didn't play well last week kind of rebounded. Alabama kicked ass and Ohio State kicked ass. They came out and just bludgeoned the teams they were playing to death. But my headline for me was, huge wins by LSU and Oregon. LSU, played Ole Miss. And, I've been saying the whole season, LSU is loaded. If they figure any of this stuff out, they start playing more consistently. And all of a sudden, the quarterback starting to throw the ball down the field. Like, I don't know where that came from. Like, I've been watching, Jaden Daniels the whole season. I'm like, what's with this guy? And all of a sudden, he just starts, he was dominant. Like, when he wasn't throwing, he was running. Ole Miss had no chance. Like, they had no chance to stop him. And the funny part is Ole Miss was up 17-3 and then ended up losing 45-20.
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts. So I'm really looking forward to the LSU Alabama game in 2 weeks. It's in LSU and it's going to be, I looked at the schedule, it's going to be at night. So
it's
that
at LSU. It's not in the Superdome, or it's just at LSU?
No, it's at Death Valley. So It's going to be, it's at night. So it's going to be crazy. So we'll see. And they both are off this week. So they both get a bye before the game. So,
right.
I'm really interested to see, because LSU's defensive line is ridiculous. I'm really interested to see how they do against Alabama, because as with most good quarterbacks, that's how you beat them. Your defensive line has to win. The other thing, Oregon, I don't know where that performance came from, but Oregon was ridiculous. Like, Bo Nix was incredible. Like, I thought before the season that he could be pretty good if he got on the right team, and Auburn was kind of falling apart. So I think that was a really good transfer. And, listen, they lost that first game to Georgia. They got their ass kicked. But, look, they had a brand new coach, brand new quarterback, and they just ran all over UCLA. UCLA's defense got just shredded. I didn't think their defense was great before this, but my God, that was ugly. So I think, obviously, we'll see what happens with LSU, but, Oregon's got a chance to win the Pac-12 and, maybe go to the playoff. We'll see. They still have to play.
Still has to play USC.
Oregon has to play Utah. They don't play USC. Well, they would play USC if they made the Pac-12 championship game. But just by conference, Pac-12 coming up. We got USC and UCLA in a few weeks. And then we're going to have, down close to the end of the season, we're going to have Oregon against Utah. So huge games for that conference. And the fact that we're still talking about the Pac-12 with three teams that are pretty good is kind of impressive. Clemson had a bit of a rough game against Syracuse. People have been questioning their quarterback the whole season. I thought they were kind of past it, and then they benched him in the second half. But the whole thing was kind of weird. They benched the quarterback, but then they only threw 4 passes in the second half. So I didn't quite understand what was happening there. But it was a little weird because, Syracuse was running all over Clemson's defense in the first half, which Clemson's defense is good. So I was just surprised. But in the second half, they completely just dominated.
Yeah.
Every time the quarterback for Syracuse dropped back, there was never anybody open. So it was I think of the teams left, they have the best chance to go undefeated. But that was, you're worried. That was a little bit worrisome. They managed to win the game, and I didn't think they really got outplayed. I mean, there was a fumble return that caught for a touchdown that kind of set them back a little bit, and, But that being said, I don't know. I'm not sure. Clemson, I feel similar to Clemson as I do about Michigan. I'm not sure. Okay, they have some good things, but I don't know. And interesting enough, in the AP poll, one person gave Clemson a first place vote. So they have one first place vote. I don't know how you could watch that game and then go, all right, that's the number one team.
Yeah.
They benched their quarterback in the second half, and that's the number one team?
Right.
So that tells you how bad the polls are, but that stuff will go away, I think, in a few weeks when they start the actual college football playoff poll. But, so the coach shut down the quarterback controversy. He said DJ's our quarterback, but we'll see. I'm not totally convinced. The other big story, look, this goes out to Texas. Listen, man, I was trying to believe. I wanted to believe you were for real. I really did. Like, you played like crazy against Alabama. Your quarterback got hurt. Okay. You lost to Texas Tech when your quarterback was out. Okay. That was shaky as hell. Like, you gave up 469 yards to Texas Tech. I was a little concerned, but you know what? I was willing to give you another chance. And then you absolutely shit the bed, Oklahoma State in the second half. You only scored 3 points. How do you only score 3 points? First of all, it's a Big 12 team you're playing against. Like, what's going on? So they end up losing 41-34, and so I don't want to hear it, Texas. Like, I'm done. I don't want to hear it. Like, I've given you every opportunity, and all that happens is you get lit up. Like every week you get lit up, and it's like, oh, but the quarterback, man, stop somebody. Hold people under 40. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
So the other one was Miami.
Yeah, forget that.
I'd like to take a moment of silence for the Hurricane program. They got beat by Duke, and they got their ass kicked. They had 8 turnovers. I'm going to say that again. 8 turnovers. How do you turn the ball over 8 times in a football game? Were you just throwing it directly to the other team? It's incredible.
Yeah.
They have 5 fumbles. They lose all of them. Like, who fumbles the ball 5 times and doesn't get one of them back? So, yeah, University of Miami's 3-4. Like, man, like, that's another team that I was like, at the beginning of the season, I'm like, oh, man, please let them be good, because we need that for college football. But, yeah, man, they suck.
Yeah.
It's incredible. New coach, like, all right, we'll give you a little more time, dude, but come on, man. When you lose to Duke and Middle Tennessee State, I don't know what to say anymore. Like, at least Texas is losing to conference teams, like, or good conference teams. Miami's losing to. It's just that's pathetic. I think the Big 12 has the most exciting games, to be honest with you. Every game is a shootout.
Was down 18 points, and they still beat Kansas State, so they're still undefeated. So
that was incredible.
You got Oklahoma State's got 1 loss, right? But they beat Oklahoma, they haven't played Oklahoma yet.
No, they haven't played Oklahoma yet.
I forget who they lost to. But yeah, Kansas State's out of it now. They got like two losses. But TCU and then Oklahoma State, and I guess that's the only 2.
Those are the only 2 that really have a shot at going anywhere.
Yeah, because Oklahoma's done.
But yeah, and then I think Oklahoma State plays Kansas State next week. And the nice part of the Big 12 is they're all going to play each other. So it's like you get a really good read on what's happening. So yeah, they have probably the most exciting games. It's really nice to have good teams in every conference. Like, that's really nice that we actually have people that we can watch.
Yeah, that's why we need a 12-team playoff this year, because that would be awesome. You get somebody from every conference. You get someone from every conference in there. So.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, when you just do the 12-team playoff and you look at the games, like, especially if we're going to have like, I wasn't a big proponent of expanding the playoff, but the fact that we could get on-campus playoff games, that's awesome. Like, that would be just amazing to have games like that in January and, on campus, in team stadiums where you get home crowd and all that stuff. I just think that would be really cool. So next week, I think let's see, Tennessee plays Kentucky next week, and Ohio State plays Penn State. So those are kind of the best, best games. But I'm really looking forward to Tennessee and Georgia, and then Alabama plays LSU the same weekend, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So that's like decision time for the SEC. And, we'll find out. Look, Georgia and Ohio State, Michigan, they haven't really beaten anybody. So it's kind of hard to tell with them at this point. But the good thing is they're all going to play legit teams going down the stretch. I think Georgia has to play, I think they play Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and somebody else. I can't remember. So they play 4 major SEC opponents in a row. Alabama has to go to LSU, and they have to go to Ole Miss. So we're gonna find out a lot. But I think, honestly, at the end of the day, let's face it, we're going to have the SEC champion the Big Ten champion, probably Clemson, and then we'll see what happens with the fourth spot, whether it's a second SEC team or TCU or Oregon or, you know. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I don't know whether we'll get two SEC teams. You know, it depends on what happens with the rest of the games. You know, LSU is not going to be a pushover for Alabama. Again, you know, if LSU plays anywhere close to their talent, they will be a nightmare to try to beat. But yeah, that's all I had. Anything else?